this tonight because it proves them to be liars and phony in their quest for journalism and truth. This is all a disinformation campaign, and it's gone on way too long. Finally tonight, I know I'm going long, Sarah Carter, brand new news reporting, headline, Robert Mueller, Andrew Weissman, the FBI and the mob. Sarah detailing how both Mueller and Weissman are directly involved in two of the biggest scandals in FBI history. When Mueller was an acting U.S. attorney in Boston in the 80s, well, he was involved in the FBI's corrupt, highly unethical relationship with the infamous murderer, mobster Whitey Bulger. 4 men ended up being framed for murder, sent to jail. 2 of them died in jail. Then it resulted in over $100 million in damages to the 2 that lived. And then there's Mueller's pit bull, Andrew Weissman. The rotten apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. He's the guy in a 1990s organized crime case. Weissman was reprimanded by a judge for withholding exculpatory evidence. And his powerful friend, well, later were out there to get him out of trouble. We also told you about Weissman's hard-charging tactics. In the Enron case, tens of thousands of people lost their jobs at Anderson Accounting. 4 Merrill executives go to jail. That case was overturned, 9-0 against him. All of this information is shocking. That's Mueller's team. But given what we know about Mueller and his pit bull, Weissman, well, it's now par for the course. This is a national disgrace what's happening. Joining us with reaction, Fox News contributor Sarah Carter, civil rights criminal defense attorney David Schoen, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Sarah, let's start with you and your investigative report.
Well, I think what we see here, and this is the point that I hope people understand about these cases in the past. This is what is predictable in the future, and I think the president obviously wants to talk to Mueller. He knows he's innocent. He wants to tell him what he knows. But this is the problem, Sean. All you have to do is look at these cases in the past. Innocent people ended up either pleading guilty or they were found guilty. They spent their life in prison. And then they had to wait until they were exonerated. There is a very serious moment here where the president has to take a step back and think about what he's going to do. Because there were cases, we saw it with the Weissman case in New York, and we see it with the case in Boston.
But politically, he can't, Sarah, because the media will run that. This is the most corrupt team ever put together in any investigation I've ever heard of.
Well, it is, but what you're looking at right now is an extraordinary, visceral hate by people that want to either see this president impeached or drag his name through the mud. And I think that at this point in time, all that we can do is continue to push the stories out, continue to push the truth out, so that the American people understand what's going on, and more importantly, so that the president and the administration understand what's going on. But there has to be a very serious consideration for what's happened in the past and what could possibly happen with this special counsel.
All our media colleagues, he's beyond reproach. That's a total crock. He's not. He's about as credible as Stormy to me.
Well,
Bob Mueller ruined the credibility of his own and the integrity of his own investigation when he hired clearly a very partisan team to go after and destroy Donald Trump. Now, the good news is DeGeneva and Tenzing are now in there defending the president. They, I expect, will go to Robert Mueller and say, you want to interview the president? You can't force a president to testify about things that are not crimes. Collusion, it's not a crime anywhere in the criminal codes. Obstruction of justice, where's the evidence of that? Hoping that Flynn is cleared?
Has the president's attorneys been too timid?
I think they have been too timid, but it's stopping right now, I guarantee you. And I've known Joe DeGeneva for 25 years.
Same here.
Victoria Tenzing, I'd
hire them in a second.
They're among the top former prosecutors in Washington, D.C. They're experienced. Joe was an independent counsel before. He is the right person to counter the thuggish tactics of Bob Mueller and Andrew Weissman.
All right, what's your take? David Schoen.
Look, we've spoken before. This is the special counsel position is unfortunately a position that allows for the greatest abuse possible in our system. There's virtually no accountability. He's given a mandate originally, and that's by Mr. Rosenstein. But once he has that mandate, every single person who he, Mueller or his team, unilaterally decides is interfering with his so-called investigation, or is obstructing it, or has told him what he believes to be a lie, committed perjury, he has the authority under that general mandate, under Regulation 600.04, to prosecute that crime. So even if the person never committed any crime at all, simply by virtue of appointing this fellow as special counsel, he now has the unilateral authority to charge someone with a very serious crime that had nothing to do with the underlying investigation. That's very, very dangerous, and that's one of the many reasons it's so important that you're spending this time to point out who exactly Mr. Mueller is and who his team is. And I'm going to say this also. The conflicts that mark this team are absolutely astounding. The only reason a special counsel is appointed under the statute, of course, is if there's reason to believe a crime was committed, but if specifically there's a conflict of interest within the Department of Justice. How is it that so many members of this team come directly from the Department of Justice?
Where's the second special counsel? All right, let me